Center Stage flopped at the box office and was trashed by critics. It then became the defining dance movie of a generation. How the hell did that happen? Center Stage turns 25 years old this week, so here's some things I bet you never knew about it. According to producer Larry Mark, the story behind Center Stage starts with Sony executive Amy Pascal in the late 90s. Mark told Vulture that Pascal always wanted to make a dance movie. So, quote, she had a script developed, one draft of it, by Carol Heikkinen. Heikkinen had written Empire Records. The script would later get a rewrite from playwright Wendy Wasserstein. Anyway, Larry Mark was fascinated by the script and came on board as producer. He immediately thought of British theater director Nicholas Hytner to direct the movie. They had just made The Object of My Affection together, and Hytner had directed a number of big musicals and plays, including Miss Saigon. The filmmakers then made a decision early on. They decided to cast real dancers in the film. Mark said, "We were trying to be as authentic as possible. We were trying not to fudge the dancing. That was Nick Hytner's edict. Let's get people who can really dance to do this movie." The American Ballet Academy in the film is loosely based on the real School of American Ballet at Lincoln Center. Mark reached out to Ethan Stiefel, who plays Cooper in the film, personally asking him if he'd be in the movie. And then they held open auditions in spring 1999, drawing from the major dance companies in New York, including the New York City Ballet and American Ballet Theater. But they also looked at dance companies around the country. Sasha Radetsky, who was an ABT dancer, originally auditioned for the Russian character Sergei. And while he had lived in Russia for a time and spoke Russian, Radetsky's Russian accent wasn't good enough to get the part. Sergei instead went to gold medal winning Olympic figure skater Ilya Kulik, who took to the dancing because of his skating experience. Radetsky ended up playing the role of Charlie in the movie, but the character wasn't always written for him. That character was originally going to be a Hispanic dancer named Carlos. An ABT dancer, Angel Corella, was going to play the part, but it didn't work out with Corella, so they changed the character to Charlie and cast Radetsky instead. Amanda Shull, who plays Jodie in the film, was also a trained dancer, though she was a student at the time working with the San Francisco Ballet School. Casting scouts found her at a ballet rehearsal there and asked her to go on tape immediately after the rehearsal. They then flew her to Los Angeles and New York to do further screen tests. Julie Kent, who played Kathleen, was also a professional dancer with ABT. Now, that said, the filmmakers also cast some actors who weren't pro dancers. Center Stage was Zoe Saldana's first movie. She had only gotten her SAG card a year earlier from a Verizon commercial. She had taken ballet classes for years, but was by no means a professional. When the director cut her dance audition short, she thought she had blown it. Instead, they told her she got the part right there. The film ended up using a dance double for Saldana, Aisha Ash, who at the time was the only woman of color in the New York City Ballet Company. Susan May Pratt, who played Maureen, the best dancer at the school, also was not a pro dancer, though she had taken some dance classes when she was younger. A friend's mother, who was a community ballet teacher, gave her a 2-day intensive in preparation for her audition. Tony-winning Broadway actress Donna Murphy was surprised to be cast as the movie's ballet instructor, Juliette Simone, because she didn't think her ballet moves were good enough. Director Nick Hytner disagreed. Murphy trained with a few ballet experts in New York and observed classes at ABT. Peter Gallagher, who played the company choreographer and director, said he wanted in as soon as he heard Hytner was directing. While researching the role, Gallagher was deeply moved by the ABT. He told Vulture, "I got to sit in the front and watch them rehearse, and it was all I could do not to start crying, because what they were doing was so hard and required so many years of expertise and sacrifice and pain." When it came time to shoot the movie, Peter Gallagher said, "I was terrified because I was surrounded by these brilliant dancers who knew what they were doing, and I realized I didn't even know how to walk right. I said, fellas, how do I walk?" The film includes a cameo from Broadway actor Priscilla Lopez as the jazz instructor. She was in the original cast of A Chorus Line. Costume designer Ruth Myers said she was given free rein to the Royal Ballet School and Theatre in London to research costumes, while Broadway director and choreographer Susan Stroman came on as the movie's choreographer. She was prepping the producers on Broadway at the same exact time. Stroman told Vulture, "I rehearsed them all to death," and Radetsky called them having way more rehearsals for the movie than they would for actual ABT ballet performances. According to Box Office Mojo, Sony set the budget for the film at $29 million. Filming began in New York City July 12, 1999. They shot a lot at the Paul Taylor Dance Studio downtown, emulating Broadway Dance Center uptown, while the finale was shot at Lincoln Center. Sasha Radetsky says he was late to his first day of filming, which was the ferry scene on the water. He and Amanda Shull had a kissing scene that day, which ended up being cut from the movie. Shull got severely seasick on the boat. Radetsky said, "She was like throwing up and then we were kissing that whole day." And Shull recalled, "Poor guy, I didn't even consider how hideous my breath probably was throughout that entire scene until much later. They had a bucket right off camera. We were at sea for several hours and I vomited every single one of those hours." Donna Murphy's first scene was with Zoe Saldana, and she knew right away, quote, "That girl's gonna be a star." Nick Hytner allowed the dancers several takes of their dance performances to make sure the ballet was as good as possible in the film. He also shot a lot of wide shots of the pro dancers in the movie to make sure the audience could see it was them really doing it. The dance battle between Cooper and Charlie was largely improvised. Susan Stroman told Stiefel and Radetsky to try one-upping each other. The movie's final performance performance includes a motorcycle because Stifel drove a motorcycle in real life. Schull says that piece was really challenging and she felt intimidated by how good the guys were. Stifel's leather pants did become a problem, as Myers, the costume designer, recalled, "I think we made 24 pairs of those because he literally ripped them every time he did that slide." Stroman and Myers both take credit for coming up with the unraveling tutu. The costume was done practically and went right down to the wire with the allotted time on set. Schull said it was a monumental feat in buttoning and snaps. She also said it was exhausting shooting the grand finale. "It was like 3 o'clock in the morning on the last day and it was exhausting. My body just didn't hold out, just wasn't capable of staying on point for that. We'd been dancing for probably 10 to 12 hours at that point. Stop and start, stop and start." For years, fans have debated the plausibility of that grand finale dance number, with many commenting that it just wouldn't be possible in real life. They wrapped production September 20th, 1999. The script was a lot longer than the final movie, and they ended up cutting out a lot. Pratt says the other girls actually had their own subplots, but then it was pared down to mostly just being about Jodie. Center Stage opened on 1,506 theaters in the US May 12, 2000, earning just $4.6 million domestic, falling to number 6 behind Gladiator, Battlefield Earth, and others. The movie would gross just $26.4 million worldwide, meaning it did not turn a profit in theaters. But the soundtrack's lead single, "I Wanna Be With You" by Mandy Moore, was a modest hit. It became Moore's highest charting song in the US, hitting number 24 on the Billboard 100. Center Stage wasn't nominated for any major awards, but Susan Stroman won an American Choreography Award for the movie. Critics were not kind to the film. Today, just 41% of the 80 reviews assessed by Rotten Tomatoes are positive. Roger Ebert liked it though, giving it 3 out of 4 stars. And look at that audience score, 82%. That's because the movie grew to have a cult following among millennials who were teens when the movie hit video. As Variety explained in 2016, Center Stage found an audience after its theatrical release due to some combination of home video sales and TV airings. In 2020, Zoe Saldana said that when fans recognize her, half of the people reference Center Stage, and it's usually young women. Donna Murphy said, "I've starred in a number of Broadway shows where the brilliant dancers in the show would say, 'Oh my god, Center Stage was just everything.' Dance the shit out of it" has become an often repeated quote in dance classes nationwide. Center Stage's enduring popularity spawned 2 sequels, Center Stage Turn It Up, which debuted on the Oxygen Network in 2008, and Center Stage On Pointe, which went straight to Lifetime in 2016. Peter Gallagher and Ethan Stifel are in all 3 movies, while Sasha Radetsky also returned for the 3rd one. In 2020, Sony announced that a TV series adaptation of the movie was in the works, but as of 2025, it has yet to materialize.